Ahsoka's latest episode has left some theories on people's minds. Now, a lot of these theories have already been covered, so I'm not taking credit for these. But I am adding a few things to these theories and combining multiple things that different people have theorized about these three theories. So yeah, let's get our detective hats on and begin deducting. Now, before we begin, I just want to get this out the way. I don't think the Shaman of the Wills is involved, as some people have been theorizing. It just doesn't seem to suit what's going on and the way they were set up in the Clone Wars. Like, the way. Why would they be calling out to Balin's skull? It just doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, yes, maybe they'd be trying to teach him something, but it just doesn't really make sense, especially with the fact that the Night Sisters are afraid of whatever this is, so I don't think it's the Wills. But but with that said, it is still a possibility. However, I think these other three theories are definitely more possible. So, if any of you are a little confused on what's going on right now, let me explain to add a bit of context here. So, in the episode of Ahsoka, Balin Skull said to Shin Hati that something's calling to me, and during the same conversation, he also suggested the fact that on the planet they were on in the different galaxy, he thinks that the Night Sisters and possibly Thrawn are fleeing from something. Now, whether Thrawn knows about this is something else for another day, but either way, it seems like the Night Sisters are afraid of something and want to flee the galaxy to get into the main Star Wars galaxy because of this threat. So this is basically the context of what's going on. And here are the three theories that I have about this. Now, the first theory is Abeloth, the mother from Legends. The second theory is the son of Mortis. And the third theory is the Bendu. Okay, let's start out with the theory that I think is most likely, at least from a writing standard, which would be the Bendu. Now, the Bendu fits. Okay, yes, the Bendu doesn't really have as much evidence as the other two do. However, this just fits the Bendu's character, considering the fact that in Star Wars Rebels, the Bendu would call out to Kanan to teach him how to see again, basically see using the Force, and basically the Bendu was calling out to Kanan, just like or the theory says, he's calling out to Balin Skull. Maybe he wants to teach Balin something, judging on the fact that Balin is like half light side, half dark side, or like kind of a mix in between them both. So the Bendu is reaching out to this. However, the thing that goes against this is that Balin has said that whatever he senses here can help him stop the cycle, or whatever that's supposed to mean. But basically, that doesn't really match the Bendu. However, both the Bendu and Balin seem to be kind of similar in regards. However, I do think this one is most likely in a writing standard, because in a writing standard, considering the fact that, well, it's Disney we're talking about, and I just feel like this is the safer move to go with. However, I also don't think, from an in-universe, in-lore standard, this is the most likely, considering the fact it hasn't had enough evidence, or at least as much evidence as the other two have. So basically, I'm saying is I won't be surprised if this is the outcome. However, I also think it's kind of unlikely, or at least it wouldn't hold as much potential as the other two. So it wouldn't be as good as the other two. However, I would like to see the Bendo again. However, considering the build up, it would maybe be a little disappointing. But again, I did really enjoy the Bendu's character, and I would like to see him again. However, I think with the build up, both the son and the mother would be a bit better off. And so, with that said, let's move on to the two theories that have more evidence in universe for, and that will then be the mother and the son. So, let's move on. Up next is the son of Moses. Now, as explained by, I believe it was the daughter in the Clone Wars, I think she said that I think it was her that said it anyway, that the only weapon that can kill one of those beings, like the father, the daughter, the son, etc., is the dagger of Mortis. Now, as both the daughter and the father were killed using the dagger, the son was killed using Anakin's lightsaber. So therefore, this theory is very plausible by saying that the other two did die, However, the son survived. Well, yeah, obviously the daughter is technically alive, and some theories say in Ahsoka's spirit, which I'll get onto that later, or the bird thing that keeps following Ahsoka around. And then there's connection to the world between worlds, those giant wolf things in Rebels, so on and so on. But basically, I think what the canonical reason of this is, the son could very well be alive, considering he was killed in a way that was said couldn't kill one of those beings. So I think it's almost definite he's still alive, or he survived those injuries. Now, I also want to establish something else now. This is a pre-edit, so apologies if the break in what I was saying last and then what I say next is a little abrupt, so apologies about that, but I want to add that we know that both Shin Heti and Balin Skull are connected to Norse mythology, being the wolves that chase the sun and the moon. Now, Skull, the wolf in Norse mythology, is the one that chases the sun. So it is, and looking at how this is going, it is actually very possible that Balin is chasing the sun, being Balin's skull, and then Shin Heti being Shin Heti, the wolf that chases the moon. Not really 100% what that entails for her, what that means she's going to be doing, because according to what I know, there's no such thing, there's no character in Star Wars called the Moon. But again, she could just be like, she very well might just be named Hetty, considering the fact Balin Skull, and they want to foreshadow with the Balin Skull part, so they just named Hetty Shin Hetty just to make it make a little bit more sense to have both of them. But I could be completely off and completely wrong, but I just wanted to add this in there. Now what that entails with when it's saying it, maybe this means that Balin will kill the sun, considering in Ragnarok it is said that once Ragnarok is initiated, Skull and Hetty will catch the sun and the moon respectively. So maybe this meet and eat them whole. So I'm not saying that Balin is going to eat the sun, but I think that Balin is going to catch the sun and maybe kill him or defeat him. I don't really know. This is just a theory that I'm getting through Ragnarok and all that. Again, I don't know. I'm probably completely far off the margin, but I just felt like adding this in. So going back to, I think it was episode 1, but you could hear a thing that said to Ahsoka, he is the chosen, in like Fade and Darkness and stuff. I'd recommend go check out Star Wars Theory for the full clip of that, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to find the proper clip. But basically, with that being said, there's only two candidates that could be. Well, I guess three if you include Starkiller, but Sam Witwer was credited in the end credits of that episode. He played both Darth Maul and the Son in Star Wars The Clone Wars, so that could very possibly be a reason why maybe the Son was trying to reach out to Ahsoka and grab Ahsoka's attention. Or something like maybe he's on Peridia and he needs to be freed, or he needs Ahsoka for whatever reason, and he's also calling out to Balin's skull. So maybe he's what Balin's sensing. Also, I couldn't find anything when I looked this up, but I think there was a part in the recent episode where Sabine seen a giant bat creature in the distance. Now, this giant bat creature could just be a giant bat creature, but it also could be the sun. As in the Clone Wars, he did turn into, you guessed it, a giant bat creature quite frequently. So basically, with that being said, there is one more thing that does link up to the sun, and that is kind of due to the fact of all the build up in Rebels and the Clone Wars and the Morai that is always following Ahsoka, and the fact that Ahsoka is kind of seems to be under protection of the Morai, or who is presumably the daughter, as the daughter give her life to save Ahsoka. Now, maybe that was reason. Maybe there was a reason behind that, which again I'll get to in a bit. But I think that due to the Morai and all the connection build up through Rebels, Clone Wars, it makes the sun quite a likely candidate, and that given with what was said earlier on. Um, so this is a very possible scenario, but I guess it remains to be seen. And so yeah, I think let's go on to our next and last theory, being Abeloth. Okay, so this is probably the theory that I'm most interested in, and the one I hope is true the most. Though I do think the Sun would be quite decent for the plot going forward, and Bendu would be quite interesting. However, again, that wouldn't really build up the plot going forward. But basically, in Abeloth, it has never been canonized. There's no existence of her in canon, so this would be bringing in someone from Legends. So there is probably more of a chance of it being the Sun for that reason. However, in Legends, as you probably know, Abeloth was the servant of the three Mortis gods. She ended up growing in part of their family. She ended up marrying the father and becoming the mother of the son and the daughter. However, because due to her being mortal, she aged. She started growing old, but the others didn't because they're immortal. So, in response of this, she went and did some banned and forbidden things on the planet. Going to a volcano, which it is very possible you see a mountain in the Ahsoka show, which Balin and Shin look at one point, and this mountain could very well be the mountain with the what I like to call a Lazarus pit, because I can't remember the names of them. Apologies about that, but it's very possible that that mountain was what had these illegal things, I guess, that Abeloth couldn't use but did drink out of. Now, going back to the story and linking it up to what could be at the canon would basically be the same as it is in Legends, but Abeloth was corrupted by the fonts and the pool or whatever, and she ended up attacking the son and the daughter. And the father, being disgusted by this, took the son and the daughter, and they left and went to, some place or another. I guess Mortis. But basically, the only difference would be is the planet would be Peridia. Now, Abeloth was abandoned on Peridia and was stranded on Peridia and couldn't leave the planet of Peridia. So she's been there, and every time there's a slight change in the galaxy, like for example, Palpatine becoming Galactic Emperor, could very well be the change that's necessary for her to escape or to call out to someone. Now, maybe she's tried to call out to Balin Skull to come and free her, and he has come to the planet, and he is sensing this. Now, I don't believe Balin Skull knows what Abeloth is or what he's trying to free. Like, I don't think the stories of the old Jedi stories are completely clear on this, though I really do want to hear these stories. However, I do think there is a very large possibility that he does not know what he's going to free. He's going to be tricked and quite possibly killed. Now, also, it is also worth saying that Shin Hati looks quite a lot like Abeloth. Abeloth can take over a body and possess someone. So, although I really hope this isn't true, and I presume this isn't true because it doesn't match Balin's character, but some people say that Balin could very well be sacrificing Shin to Abeloth. Now, I, again, don't agree with this. Like, I don't think Abeloth is going to take Shin and possess Shin just because that's not what Balin would do. It's possible she could do that, but I don't think it would be due to Balin sacrificing it because it just doesn't seem like the character we know so far. But from what I can tell is, if this is true, then this means a lot for the future of Star Wars. Abeloth is quite possibly the most terrifying being in Star Wars, and is stated to be, or at least in Legends, to be 12 or 11 times powerfuler than Grandmaster Luke Skywalker, who has the power of the Chosen One. So basically, Abeloth is about 11 or 12 times powerful than full potential Anakin. So that just shows how powerful this being is, and this could be linking up to link up with Rebels and stuff like that. it's theorized that when the daughter revived Ahsoka, it wasn't just out of the goodness of her heart, it was due to the fact that they foreseen something. They foreseen that this was needed. So basically, Ahsoka may very well be necessary or the key or whatever in stopping Abeloth. Now, I do believe that Luke would be needed for this storyline. Like, I think if you bring in Abeloth and you bring in Thrawn, you could very well have Ahsoka go after Thrawn and deal with the war going on in the galaxy, and Luke deals with Abeloth or something like that. Like, that would make Luke used, because at the moment, Luke just seems to be sitting on his thumbs and doing nothing, which is weird. But considering what he comes in later on in canon, thanks to The Last Jedi, wouldn't be that surprised, but you know. That's besides the point. Jake Skywalker is a complete of a story, and I hate that part, but whatever. Point is, that I'm trying to get to, is Luke is needed somewhere in this plot line. But it doesn't seem likely he's going to be involved in this Throne War, considering what they've been setting up with the Mandalorians and all that. So I'm thinking maybe he could go after either Abeloth or the Sun. You know, depending on what theory you're into, or what theory you're buying, or what it turned out to be, most likely, I guess. But anyway, this is just my take on these theories, and I could be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong. It could be the Shaman of the Rills, or it could just be nothing and just be like a Force Nexus or something, which I really hope isn't the case, because I'd just be boring as hell. But then again, it's Disney Star Wars. Last time I theorized about crap like this, it was Snoke, and, well, you know what happened there. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. So, peace out, guys, and hopefully the Ahsoka show is good, and yeah. See you guys.